Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're doing the wrap up of the month of August today, and we're also going to be taking a look into my September TBR, which is going to be a little bit different than my usual way I do my TBR. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? And if you want to see more active things, more day-to-day stuff from me, TikTok is the place to go. Cool. Now, let's jump into all the books I read this month. So this month wasn't a big reading month for me. I've just been having a hard time with life in general, and obviously my reading gets impacted by that, and so I haven't been reading as much as I want to be completely honest with you guys. Just because I know I would be reading every single day, and I haven't been reading every single day. I've been reading once in a while, and then I get like really hooked in a book. I read a lot, and then I stop reading for days on end, and so it's been kind of hard managing that, but I'm getting better, and that's what matters. But we did read a total of 9 books this month, which is very, very good, so I'm pretty happy with that. So first off, I started with Bound. This was definitely a mood read. I looked at it, I was like, let me give this a try. Let's see what's happening here. And when I tell you, I got hooked on the very fucking first few chapters. So in this book, we follow our FMC. She basically lives in the slums, and she fights in a fighting pit at night, but works like as a laundry woman during the day. And she lives with her mom and her sister. And her sister is a lot younger than her, so she's basically like earning money to like put food on the table, but also like help raise her sister, all of that. But there's been some kidnappings in the area. Someone's taking children from their bed in the middle of the night. No one sees them, no one notices them. The kids just vanish. And so she's even trying to teach the kids how to defend themselves and everything, but one day her sister gets kidnapped too, which is obvious. Okay, we know this is coming. So what does she think? She thinks, okay, our kingdom is at war with a different kingdom where vampires lie, because her kingdom has direbound, basically people in the army that are bound to direwolves, and they're like these super powerful, like, you know, fighters and stuff, to fight the other kingdom that has vampires, and the vampires are the bad guys or whatever. So obviously she assumes, okay, the vampires are the one taking the children, has to be, and so I need to get myself to that vampire kingdom to try and find my sister and the other children. So what does she do? Logically, she thinks, I'm gonna join the army so they can take me all the way to the front lines, and then I just have to skedaddle onto the other side and try to capture some vampires and figure out what to do next. And so the story goes from there. Obviously, the name is Direbound, so you can assume a little bit of what happens next, but I don't want to give you any spoilers. That being said, from the very first chapters, all the red flags starting to fly, because there's a lot of little tidbits here and there that I'm like, how does this person know? How is this happening? They're strangely informed about this, and these red flags were jumping so much at me that I just got really like angsty. I don't even know how to explain. Everything just was jumping at me, and I was like, what the hell? Why doesn't the FMC notice this? Isn't this weird? This is all weird. So I just got so hooked in it. I haven't had a reaction like that to a romantasy in a very, very, very long time. I just saw everything. I saw like all the red flags. I saw everything happen. I was like, no, this doesn't make any logical sense. And it's not one of those stories where the FMC has everything handed to her and everything is easy and everything she tries, it's all very successful, nothing goes awry. No, like you see her go through hardships. I really like this. This was very, very, very good. I gave it 5 stars, okay? Like if you've been watching my content for a while, you know I don't give 5 stars easily. Like I really don't. I devoured this book. I could not stop reading. Next up, I went to Riftborn and Duskbound. These are the first 2 books of the Esprithian trilogy. The third one isn't out yet, and I also really like these books, okay? Like the first one is okay, it's good, but you're like, okay, like what's coming next? You see the potential, right? And then the second book is just good. I liked it so much. So in these books, we follow 2 girls. They're basically orphans, and in this world where you have like this kingdom that kind of like attacked a different kingdom and enslaved its people, but they kind of shifted the conversation, saying, no, they're the bad guys. We're trying to save them. We brought people that we were trying to save, and yet they killed most of them. Our main characters are from that kingdom, and they're marked. They have like marks in their hands, marking them as different, so everyone knows. Our main character, she's gone through a lot of shit, and she's working at an apothecary, and that's where we find her, right? And then one day, something tragic happens. Right at the beginning of the book, and she has to join the army. The same army that she hates, the same army that has not been good to her, she has to join them. Mind you, she also has magical abilities. And in this world, there's a lot of people with magical abilities. Most of them go to the army to work in the army. And so she's basically recruited and taken to the army to learn how to master her powers and all of that. And they're at war with a different enemy now, an enemy that is basically shadows. They're just shadows, and they don't take form yet. They still cut, they still bruise, they still hurt other people, they still kill other people. And we don't know why this is happening. And so the story unfolds from there. The concept of this world, the concept of these kingdoms is rather unique, to be fair, but also like the magical system is also different. Like you have very specific different types of magic. I honestly think like just reading the first book is not enough for you to understand how good the story itself is, because the second book brings a lot of other players into the game, and then you start to second guess the first book in a few things here and there. It's just, it mixes well, really, really well. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I gave the first book 3.5 stars and the second book 4 stars. And then I read the Bone Season series. I did a reread of the first 4 books, and the 5th book came out this year, but I had been procrastinating to read it for such a long time that I decided I was going to reread the whole series to then read that last one, just to freshen up a lot of details here and there. I'm not going to get in too much into it because I did do a full vlog on it. I vlogged myself reading them, which you guys can definitely check that out here on the channel. But in case you don't know what this story is about, it's basically a dystopian fantasy book with a bit of romance in it. Okay, it has like a subplot of romance, but that is not the main thing. The main thing is the dystopian. In this world, this is our world, but London. And back in the past, there got to a point where clairvoyance started to come about in the world. So clairvoyants are people that connect with the dead in some kind of capacity. And there's multiple types of different magic within this like clairvoyance umbrella. But the clairvoyants started to show up. And so the Republic of Sion was established to basically combat the clairvoyants and like maintain security, oppressing the clairvoyants and trying to keep the normals safe. And so we follow our main character, Paige, and she is a clairvoyant. She's working in the underground world of London, basically like with all the clairvoyant factions and everything. And she's one of the top guns, okay? She is one of the top guns, and she gets captured, and she thinks, okay, it's my time to go. I'm gonna die. This is it. But no, she gets taken to a concentration camp that she didn't know existed because no one knows this exists. And in this concentration camp, they reveal the secret behind Sion, how it was founded, and what is the actual mission of Sion, all of it. And this also involves other creatures from a different realm. And so this is where our story kind of like flourishes from there. And she becomes like this freedom fighter for every clairvoyant everywhere, right? When I tell you, it's one of my favorite book series ever in the entire world. Is one of my favorite book series. I love it so much. The characters are good, the story is good, the plot, the background, everything is perfectly done. Like it's so incredibly done. I can't even begin to explain to you how good it is. Okay, so for the first 4, I gave them most like 4.5 stars. I think mainly because I already knew the story. I already kind of knew where it was going. It wasn't this first reaction to it. Also with the slump, I was struggling a lot to read. No matter what it was, it had nothing to do with the books. I couldn't. I just didn't have it in me. So I was kind of also a bit slumpy. So I gave most of them between 4 and 4.5 stars. But I will say my first time around reading these books, they were all 5 stars. Like they were all 4.5, 5. Okay, like literally, I loved every single one of them. The Dark Mirror, that one was 100% of 5 stars. I can't even begin to explain to you how much of a 5 stars it was. It was so incredibly good. Like it was so amazing. It was just very well done. It had 2 tropes that I don't like, that I absolutely detest with all my heart. I only knew of one, which is the memory loss trope, and I hate it. And that's kind of what made me not want to read it, and it took me so long to read it. And then you find out there's another trope. I'm not gonna tell you what it is because it's gonna spoil it a little bit for you, but it was so well done, so beautifully done, and I just fell in love with it. I had to trust Samantha, okay? I had to trust her because she knows what she's doing. It was just very surprising to me that I absolutely loved this trope. It was such a good book. It also finally gave us what we were waiting for. So happy, but yeah, if you guys want to see the full reactions, all of it, there is a vlog. It is spoilery, okay? So keep that in mind. That vlog is full of spoilers. I do not turn it down. So if you haven't read it, but you're kind of curious to read it, maybe that won't be for you. But if you want to see me cry, ugly cry online, that is definitely for you. You can go check that out. Anyhoozles, I ended the month with also another banger, which was A Dance of Lies. So this is the book. I got it for my Fairy Loot subscription. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I read the blurb for this book, I was like, I don't care for this. I really don't care for this because this is like the main topic of this book is dancing. FMC, she's a dancer and that's what she does to spy on people. So basically in this book, we are in a kingdom that is divided into 3, the West, the Center, and the East. And basically we follow our FMC, and she used to be a dancer for the king, but he framed her for murder and imprisoned her. Basically one day he gets her out of jail. He says, you're gonna dance for me, you're gonna spy for me in this whole event that's gonna happen in this island in the East. and you're going to spy for me. And there's going to be people from various different other kingdoms, okay, not just our kingdom, other kingdoms, and we're basically like, you're going to be my spy, you're going to do everything I tell you to. And that's like where the story like unravels, is in that island. And she's also like very much trying to like escape him, but also she knows she doesn't have much of a chance. It was a really good book. I was honestly impressed, because like when I saw that the main topic of this was dancing, I was like, it's just another romancy but surrounding dancing. I don't care too much for this, but I already had the special edition. I needed to give it a chance, right? At least give it a chance. And when I tell you, I was so fucking surprised with how good this was. So I was halfway through and I was thinking, this is a solid 4 stars. Solid. Like, unless something goes badly, I think this is at least a 4 stars, right? And I ended the book deciding on whether if it was going to be a 4.5 or a 5 stars for me. I ended up going with 4.5 stars because, again, it doesn't have that oomph that I need for the 5 stars, but it was very, very, very good. There are things that are predictable. There are things I could have like figured out. And I do think in the ending, she becomes a lot less daunting and courageous like she has been this entire book. She was good, but like there were so many opportunities where she could have been herself even more, because she's growing, her courage is growing, her outspokenness is growing, like she's growing more confident, you know? And after being in prison for so long. And she just, I think in the last part of the book, I was very like annoyed with the fact that she wasn't doing anything. But I do understand why that went through. I do still liked the ending very, very much. And there's going to be a second book. And when I tell you, I need it now, because I need it. Like, I need to know what happens next. And so, yeah, I think I ended the month in a pretty nice bang, okay? I ended it very well. And yeah, those were the 9 books I read in the month of August. Now let's go into our September TBR, because this month I decided to do something a little bit different than usual. And I'm thinking of doing something different for October as well. So before I go into the TBR, I want to ask you guys if you have any recommendations for like spooky books. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm thinking like I have a lot of vampire romanticises, so I'm gonna dive into a bit of my vampire realm, okay? Because I need a little bit more vampirism, okay? But also I was thinking maybe doing some like creepy books here and there maybe. I was also kind of considering doing maybe like werewolves and witches and doing a mix of all 3 kinds. I'm not sure, but if you have any like spooky Halloween recommendations, please send them my way in the comments down below, okay? I'd really, really appreciate that, because I need to build my October TBR. Going back to the September TBR. So this month is kind of tough because we have a lot of books coming out this month, and I have a lot of books coming out from series that I'm ongoing, have a lot of books coming out that I would just like to read them just because, and I also have a lot of series that I haven't started, but there's a lot of books coming out this month as well. And at the same time, I've been struggling with my TBR because it's been quite large. And actually next week's video is me tackling my TBR, trying to make it a little bit less than it is. But I realized I have a lot of books in my TBR that are like really old recommendations, like very like classic books that you would see on Book Talk, especially when it comes to romantasy and that sort of genre. Think of like Shatter Me, Hunger Games, Red Rising, Poppy War, We Hunt the Flame, Jade City. All of those are kind of like classics from Book Talk, but I haven't actually tackled them. So I'm gonna do a hopefuls TBR, where I'm going to have a few releases that I am going to be reading this month without a doubt. I'm anticipating them so much, I need to read them this month, but also those older series that I want to tackle, and so we're gonna have those series as well, and then I can just pick and choose which ones I want to read. And the idea is not to finish the full TBR by the end of the month, but it is to at least make a dent. So if I have like 6 series that I decide I want to read, and I just read 3, it's 3 less on my TBR, okay? That's already good. So I'm going to choose what I want to read based on my mood at the time, but I'm going to try and stick to these books that we decide today. And I've actually already done all the legwork. I know exactly what I'm going to read, so let me tell you what my TBR is going to be. So when it comes to the new releases that came out in September, we're going to go with the for sure I'm going to read, minimum I'm going to read, is The Accomplice of the Villain, The Primal of Blood and Bone, and The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. Those 3 are 100% going to be read this month. They are my priority, period. Also, if I want to and if I feel like reading just a book here and there, we have Calabasas, which is Dark Academia, just came out. Dark Academia is kind of a hit or miss for me. I either absolutely hate it or I love it. So I want to see, give it a try, give it a gander. And the other one is Among the Burning Flowers, and that's from The Priory of the Orange Tree. It's another book that was released before The Priory, right? And it's small. If it were bigger, I was going to tell you I'm not going to read it now, and I might one day read it, but it's rather small, so I think I'm going to read it just because it's a lot smaller and it should be a short read. So those are 2 that I'm considering reading, but they're not priority. Now, when it comes to the series that I want to hopefully read, I want to tackle more smaller series at first, because I did the 5 books last month and I want to calm it down. I want like duologies, trilogies, and that's about it. So the books I decided to read this month were The Six Crimson Cranes. So there's 2 books out of this one, if I'm not mistaken. We Hunt the Flame, which is also 2 books. The Prison Healer, 3 books. And The Poppy War, 3 books. Little Thieves, 2 books. Jade City, 3 books. And then Dance of Thieves, 2 books. 2 books. So that is our TBR. It's actually ginormous. Am I going to be able to read all of this? Probably not. I did think about doing the TBR jar because I haven't used my TBR jar in a really long time. I was probably not going to get these older series, so I wanted to make sure I got these series done. And with all of the releases, I wanted also to make sure I was going to read all of those like standalones as well. So I'm actually pretty happy with my TBR list. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you have a great rest of the week and an amazing month of reading. And again, if you have any recommendations for Halloweeny books, let me know in the comments down below so I can check them out and see if there's anything that sparks my interest. And yeah, bye guys.